Yo, guys, what is up? A very special stream. It's been a long time coming. We've been going back and forth a lot on each other's streams. Hunter Doyle from Philly Insider Podcast and Bird Game Sports Media Network. I still can't pronounce that right. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing well, Mitch. Appreciate you having me on. Like you said, it's been too long. It's been too long, honestly, since I've collabed with anyone. Not gonna lie. So, yeah. So I appreciate you having me on, and Sixers season is here, so we'll definitely be doing some more stuff. And I got to get you on my channel soon.
Yeah. So I actually wanted to ask you about like this Bird Game Media stuff. How'd you get involved, and how did it become about?
Yeah, so Bird Gang 31, big guy in the Eagles community, very quick grower on his channel. Props to him. He's done some great work with his channel. And he reached out, asked me if I wanted to do a show on there. And me and my buddy Sanjay are doing Thursday shows right now. Just usually we usually do it before Thursday Night Football. And we just kind of talk Eagles and talk NFL a little bit. And it's been great. I've been glad to get involved. And it's a lot of fun rocking with Sanjay. Me and Sanjay do a ton of stuff on the Philly Insider channel, so it just comes naturally to us. And just to kind of have that overreaction Monday, and then we do our pregame Friday, Saturday, but have that in-between period just to kind of see how we're feeling in the week is always a fun time.
Oh, my God, yeah. Now, is that both on your channel and Bird Game Media or whatever? Is that on both?
Yes, it is. So it streams to Philly Insider, and then it also streams to Bird Gang Nation Sports Media as well.
Nice, because there's a lot of people in that group. I mean, there's like one Steve Gifted, I know.
Yep.
What's the other guy's name? Like, there's so many. Pablo, I think.
And then there's Cool Cat Connor is on there too.
Yeah, he's my guy. We do a podcast like every Eagles game.
It's awesome.
So he's good. Philly Notions on it, right?
Probably. I mean, Bird Gang's been adding so many people and expanding so much that I can't keep track, but I'm sure we got a lot of good people on there. So I would imagine Philly Notion's probably on there.
Yeah. So let's just talk about the game tomorrow and Eagles versus Raiders. I am so nervous about this game. More nervous than I was against the Chiefs. Because think about it here. The Raiders have better defense compared to the Chiefs. Yeah. And I'm like, they don't stop the run, the Raiders. And are we going to run the ball?
Yeah, honestly, I honestly can't expect it at this point. Look, like you said, the Raiders have a really, really, really good defense. Yeah, Dowko's on there. They have a really good defense. Their personnel has gotten a lot better. Their defensive line is dominant this year. Max Crosby has been one of the best pass rushers in the league. Gus Bradley's calling a really good defense over there, that Seattle cover 3. They're going to bring it. And they can get home with their front four. Like, they have the lowest blitz rate in the league, but they also have one of the top 10 pressure rates, I believe. So they get home still. They just get home with their front four is very good. Now, we'll say Quentin Jefferson, I think, is supposed to be out tomorrow. Jonathan Hankins, I think, is a full go, but he's still battling that hip injury a little bit despite full practicing this week. So hopefully that helps us on the interior. But they have other guys there. I mean, Yannick Ngakoue has been good. Solomon Thomas has really kind of had a revival of his career in Las Vegas. Like, they've got some dudes on that defensive line. Even their backups to the backups have contributed here and there. And then linebacking core, Denzel Perryman is the NFL's leading tackler. And I think according to Next Gen Stats, I believe he is the top. I think he leads in run stuffs and defensive stops as a whole that go into negative plays. So Corey Littleton's there. Next to him, he can carry your number 3 receiver. And then back deep, I mean, they've had some injuries, but Casey Hayward's ranked the number 1 corner according to PFF. Trayvon Moehrig, a guy who I was high on during the draft, he's playing that single high role, and he won't get a lot of recognition during the broadcast, but a lot of times he's taking away plays back deep. So I don't know if Quez is going to get those deep passes a ton, and Jonathan Abram can come down and play in the box and kind of play that do-it-all safety role. Like, they've just got dudes on dudes on dudes there. Like, they've got guys to do whatever you need them to do on that defense, and they're executing. And the little details they have, Gus Bradley's implementing, like you said, Mitch, they've got a good defense. And it comes down to, while they do put guys in the box, are we going to run the ball tomorrow? And you saw last week, I think last week for the most part I was okay with us not running it just because the Bucs defensive front is that good. But when you have that many guys at the line of scrimmage, when they started kind of running outside, those cutback lanes opened up, and Miles Sanders had all that room to work, and he noticed those cutback lanes very well. And you saw on that last drive, once he figured it out, Sirianni, We scored on that drive because of Miles Sanders getting the ball. And the week prior against Carolina, we scored because of those cutback lanes opening up on that wide zone. Like, there are ways to get him involved, even if the run defense is really good. So you just got to find them and recognize them. And I think tomorrow, I would just love to see them go under center a little bit and just give Miles the ball, because I think he's really good under center, especially. But I don't know if it's going to happen.
So do I. I mean, you've got to look at Kenneth Gainwell as well. He's not getting the ball at all. He had one catch for 1 yard.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is that? This offense is just like so questioning. Like, there's so many stuff. And Nick Sirianni is calling RPOs run plays. I'm like, that makes no sense.
Yeah, just run the ball.
It's not that difficult. And actually, Jalen Hurts has 5 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah. I don't get it. And I think, not to interrupt you, Mitch, but I think one thing, too, is Sirianni has said that those RPOs, like, kind of hinted at maybe Jalen's not making the right reads on them, and people have talked about that a lot too. One, that still comes back to you as a coach, because you're supposed to be teaching him how to read these better, and he's supposed to be progressing at that. Obviously, there's, to an extent, you can't go out there and do it for him, but that for one. Two, also, maybe you give him some plays where he doesn't have the option to still pass it and just go straight run plays, rather than just going with these RPOs the whole time, these college screen passes, all this. Like, those, the things that he's had in his scheme are things I thought he would implement from time to time, not use full time. And I think that's what's frustrated me, is that I thought he would implement a NFL not pro style, but NFL type of offense with some of those college things mixed in. But I don't think he's done that. And I also think Jalen's going to have to make some of those throws tomorrow into some of those zone windows, those coverage windows. And I have worried a little bit about Jalen's accuracy as well. So I think it's been a combination of, I think the coach is mostly to blame, but I have been a little bit disappointed in Jalen Hurts this far. He's young. He's got time to learn, but I think there's throws he's got to make too. So I just want to add that.
So MG Nas thinks that we can win tomorrow. Honestly, I have predicted us to lose 28-21 based off what I've seen. So they need to prove me wrong. And B-Hub's got the Raiders winning 24-17. What's with the 17? Every time I look on Twitter, it's like 34-17, 28-17. Every single time. I'm getting annoyed at that. But anyway.
Must be some lucky number or something. Alshon Jeffrey or pre-good Nelson Aguilar, 17.
So do you have us winning? Like, do you have us winning the game at all?
Yeah, so tomorrow I do have us losing, just like you mentioned, like you, B-Hub. I think it's going to be close, though. I have us losing 27-23. I think this is very similar to the Panthers game for me, in that it's a good defense. Now, obviously, different schematics and all that stuff. The Panthers have a very different philosophy. Nice, B-Hub just changed it to 21, but yeah, but and kind of also similar in that offense has been good, but I think can be stopped, kind of like the Panthers. I will say Derek Carr's been on a new level this year. He's been much more aggressive, which is what people talked about, was that he would have throws that he could make into some tight windows or some 50-50 balls he could have thrown up, and he just kind of gets conservative and takes the check down, which can be good from time to time when you're being safe, but also when he starts to get hit a little bit too much, and he doesn't make those throws, is not willing to take some risks downfield, you're going to lose some games because of that lack of, willingness to get the ball down the field. So that's something he's been better with, but if we can get to him a little bit, the offensive line for the Raiders has been banged up. They played well while banged up. I think that's been a theme of the Raiders season, is that despite injuries, they have been able to manage. But I do think that Javon Hargrave is going to feast against Andre James, some of those guys in the interior, who he's just far superior to. So I do think that we can win. I think there are ways and aspects of the game we can win, but I think if I had to pick one way, I would pick us to lose. Even I've got us winning in my pick 'em, because I can't actually pick against the Eagles. But realistically, I have us losing 27-23.
Yeah, in my pick 'em, I have us to lose. I just am so nervous about this game with the play calling. Now, people are getting mad at me because I'm getting Jalen Hurts is not doing. It's not playing as well as he should, and people are like, Mitch, it's the play calling. Mitch, it's a rebuilding year. I'm like, he's in his rookie year. And I'm like, dude, his second year, some of the throws he should hit. And
yes.
It's just I'm getting tired of this play calling excuse. Yes, it is a problem, but you got to put some of the blame on Jalen Hurts. It's common sense at this point.
Absolutely, Mitch. I 1000% agree with you on that. And I think he's getting too much of that excuse. Now, let me be clear, too. I'm not saying, draft Matt Corral just yet as I'm seeing Matt Corral highlights right now. He's really the only quarterback I would draft in the upcoming draft. And I actually, that's me. I've been a Matt Corral guy like since the end of last year. And he ended up having a breakout year this year. I'm not saying to draft him just yet. There's a long season left for both guys, and there's a lot that could happen in between now and the draft. But, I will say some of it is concerning considering you want to see improvement at some point, and there is time for improvement. But like you said, Mitch, there are just throws that he needs to hit that he's not hitting right now, just flat out. And also just throws that he's flat out not seeing either. And he's just tucking and running, or he's just taking the check down underneath, or he's taking a guy into double coverage and taking that shot downfield when he probably shouldn't sometimes. Now, I think there's positive with Jalen, but I agree. You can't always use the play calling excuse. And do I think the play calling could be better and make him more comfortable? Absolutely. I wish they would call more rollouts for him. I think he's better on the move. I don't think he's that comfortable in the pocket. Do I wish they would, incorporate the run game a little more? Obviously, yes, and be creative with the run game too, not just incorporate it. And just be more creative in general, sure. But also, while they could make him more comfortable, and he's probably losing confidence at some points just because of the play calling, I also think that with more reps, he should be getting better with a lot of these passing reps too. And I think there's just simple things that he's not seeing or not hitting sometimes. So I completely agree with you. Like, it sounds like Sirianni's going to be here after next year too. I think Hurts is probably going to get another year unless we have a chance to draft Matt Corral. I could see Howie doing that. But, I do think that I am tired of hearing the play calling excuse as well, because I think it's at the end of the day, I think it's on both sides. Like, I think both of them are to blame. I think people like to build a narrative and point to one. Like last year, it was either Carson or Doug. Like, you're either one way. I was always, it's on both of them. Like, there are mistakes both of them are making. And I think that's the same thing we have here right now with a young head coach and a young quarterback too.
Yeah, people are like, Jalen's not a good quarterback. They should trade for Deshaun Watson and all that stuff. I'm like, A, he's not coming here. B, he's going to Miami. Like, we're not getting these good quarterbacks like in a trade. What's up, Travis Martin? How you doing, man? But we're not getting these quarterbacks. I think we're stuck with Jalen Hurts.
Yeah,
it's the best option.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree with everything.
Yeah. Yo. Hey, Key, what's up? Thank you. Shout out for the thumbnail, Key. Shout out for the thumbnail. It looks great.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yeah. So one more thing. Dang. You know what kind of bothers me, though? Jalen Hurts just keep on looking at Devontae Smith. Like, every single time. Not even looking at Boston, Rager. Don't even get me started on Rager right now. But I'm just like, look at more receivers. Mm-hmm. Even though we have Greg Ward there. And Whiteside, who still doesn't have a reception. It's still like, look for the other players. You doing all right, man? That's good, man. That's good.
Right.
But it just doesn't make any sense. Now, how do you picture our offensive line against our defensive line? Like, is it a good matchup? We should be fine, or how do you feel?
Yeah, that's going to be a tough matchup, man. Look, like I said, they've got Max Crosby, who is literally rated the number one pass rusher by PFF. And if you just watch him play, look, the man has just been dominant. The guy I talked to for my pregame, Sanjit T, or Sanjit, he is phenomenal with his Raiders coverage. And he was talking about, he actually knows Max personally, very humble guy, but also just so good with his hands and getting to the quarterback. And 5 sacks this year, 18 quarterback hits in, 6 games so far. And I think he's like top 5 in pressures this year too. The man is getting to the quarterback consistently, and he is going to be a matchup nightmare no matter where he is, whether it's Mailata or Blaine Johnson he's going up against. He's going to win some reps. That's a guarantee. Quentin Jefferson being out does help, but you still got guys in the interior. Jonathan Hankins should come back. You have, I'm trying to think who else they've got down there. Solomon Thomas is playing on the interior a little bit. Like I said, had a little bit of a revival of his career after being the number 3 overall pick right after Mitchell Trubisky. He was picked and has 2 forced fumbles this year. He's got a few pressures. Damian Square, even last week, he got the start in place of a couple guys who were hurt, and he got pressure a couple times, had a nice swim move that Sanjit pointed out in his film breakdown. And, who's the other guy? And Ngakoue, too. Ngakoue's been a consistent guy for a long time now. You know what you're going to get out of him. He's going to get to the quarterback. He doesn't have a ton of sacks to show for it, but he is getting to the quarterback too. And I think I'm forgetting someone on the interior as well that hopefully will come to me. But I mean, point being, you have all those guys, and they're getting pressure with 4. And last week they were doing a little bit of stunts and twists. We'll see if they do that this week, but I think it's going to be a little bit tough. I think our offensive line, I will say, I think our offensive line has handled the last 2 challenges fairly well considering the health of them. I mean, I think Dickerson has played better at left guard than right guard. I think Driscoll is a pretty good right guard. I think he could be a starter long term. I think he's definitely been thrown into the fire a little too early in his career, but he's handled it well. Dillard played really well. Dillard won't play this week, but Dillard has played really well in his time. Outside of last week, I didn't think he played as his best, but and Kelsey's just been the mainstay there. Mailata moving back to left tackle, I think would be big. Johnson being back should be big, but you have to wonder, Johnson, glad he took his time off. I have no complaints about that. Respect to him. I hope everything's okay. But just in terms of a football perspective, there might be a little bit of lag in getting used to things again, being back in the game and being at right tackle. I mean, you saw even just week 1, he had 3 holding calls. So hopefully he's getting back into things, getting used to it again. Mailata, hopefully there's not too much getting used to switching back to left tackle. It seems like he's more comfortable there anyway. But point being, I think this is going to be the battle to watch. I mean, these are 2 very, very strong units going at each other. And I do think the Raiders will have the edge, but I think our offensive line can play well. And I think you keep Goddard or Sanders or Gainwell in there to protect a little bit at times and just chip those defensive linemen. That'll help. Greg Ward's good at chipping defensive linemen too, knocking them off their game. And I think that we can definitely handle them and find ways to combat them. It also just comes down to, can we run the ball and let these offensive line go get the hits rather than absorb the hits all game long, right? So anything we can do to keep that Raiders defensive line from coming downhill, I think will be big.
Right. Shout out to Nightings, my guy. It's today, very good. But I'm just thinking, remember the running back Jordan Howard? He was our best running back blocker. I miss this guy so much, and you don't even see Boston Scott.
Yeah,
it makes no sense.
And I don't understand it, man. And they use Jordan Howard so much in the preseason. And I know most people say, well, if he's using the preseason, that means he's probably competing for a roster spot. But he was used with the starting unit in the preseason. Yeah. And I don't even think he played that. I don't think he played at all in the last preseason game, regardless. I mean, it seemed like he was poised to be the number 2 back coming into the season. And I was like, great. He's a good power back. He wasn't used correctly in Miami. And I think he's going to get back to what he was doing before now that he's healthy, too. I don't think he's been given a fair chance. I do wish he was on the roster. And it's also something our red zone offense has struggled a ton. And just having a power back like that, too, I think would be huge. And we also, with the quarterback sneaks now without, that was one thing Wentz was amazing at, was because he had such a big frame, gets his quarterback sneaks. Jalen gets them most of the time, but there are a few times where you worry a little bit. And you also wish you could have that power back for those short yardage situations. Yeah,
I was actually shocked that Kerryon Johnson got let go. I know he had injury history and all that, but it was like we had 2 power running backs. Now they're gone.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. Is Boston Scott only used for the Giants games? I feel like that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Because think about it. Nick Sirianni is wearing these Iverson shirts, Julius Erving sweatshirts, Beat the Dallas shirts. I'm like, I think that's going to happen, man.
Yeah. But, I hope so. Yeah, Boston Scott's really only being used on special teams right now. So
I guess, yeah. So Lucas said, if the Eagles lose tomorrow, should we consider firing Nick? I know it's his first year and early in the season, but he's not looking good at all. You want to answer that? We kind of already answered that in the beginning.
But, why don't you go first?
All right, I think it's way too early. 1, and 2. It just depends. He's a Howie Roseman guy. So that's just once Howie Roseman's gone, if he's ever gone, play the guy.
I heard that.
Nick Sirianni maybe will be gone. So maybe we'll be gone on that. But you think it's too early?
Yeah, I think it's too early. Look, I know he hasn't been good, and I know this is a bad comparison because Andy Reid also had Doug Peterson as his quarterback his first year as a head coach, but Andy didn't start off that great. And like I said, I acknowledge it's a different situation, but there's been head coaches who have had rough starts to their career and revived. And I also recognize there's been coaches who have had rough starts who haven't really ever figured it out too. But I think we just have to be patient with Nick and kind of figure out if he's going to learn from time. I mean, I think if he's still going with the same game plan and the same play calls, like by week 17, maybe you consider it. But and this is a big week for both teams. So, I mean, this is just as big of a week for the Raiders because they're trying to prove, look, we're not that typical 500 team anymore. Like, we're not going to go back to 4-3, follow 4-3 this week. We are a legit team this year, and we're not. This is a different year, right? We're going to 5-2, whereas we're trying to kind of claw back for life and say, all right, we got to get to 3-4 and just keep ourselves in this race right now. So this is a big game for both teams, and I think that Sirianni losing it wouldn't be as big of a deal. And I think all of the games have been pretty close that we've played, not all of them, but we've hung in there with some tough teams, and I think this is not much different. So, I think it's way too early.
So, really quick, from Nightings, you two are my homies. Love y'all. I gotta head out for a little time being. Hope you guys have a good one. Shout out to you, Nightings. Thank you.
Appreciate you, Nightings.
And shout out to my guys,
Mike.
Philly Talk podcast. Man, you're doing good. I need to get you on the channel, man. I need to get you on here next. But,
good to see you, Mike.
Yeah. Let's get Philly in. Yep. You're 19 away?
I'm close.
Yeah. I mean, dude, who makes the highlight videos? You?
I do make the hype videos, yeah.
There you go. I'm like, whenever I make them, they don't do as well as yours. I'm like, what am I doing wrong?
I got you with a little tip after stream. I'll let you know how to promote them.
Gotcha. All right. But how do you feel about Goddard coming back and being the first tight end right off the gate?
Yeah, look, I've been. You can ask Sanjay on Philly Insider. Like I said to Sanjay, I remember this vividly. I want to say this was like 3 or 4 years ago. I think it was after Goddard's rookie year. I told Sanjay, I think Goddard could be a top 5 tight end, and I think he's going to be better than Ertz someday. Now, Ertz accomplished a lot in his Eagles career. I'm not saying that he's going to accomplish the same that Ertz did, but just in terms of raw talent, I think just because of his size and his athleticism at his size and his ability to get yards after catch, and I think his blocking ability especially is huge for him. I think that Goddard's going to really thrive now that he's the guy here, and I think it was time. I think Goddard's been looking for this opportunity since he got here, and I think Ertz, we kind of knew he wasn't going to be here long term after last season. So I think it's great for him, and I want to see Goddard go out and do it. But I also want to see Sirianni involve him. And like you said, with kind of hinting at with looking at Devontae, I also want to see Hurts look his way a little bit more and get him the ball when he's open, right? So I think, Goddard can only do so much. I think he runs good routes, and I think he's a really good blocker. And I think he's gonna do great in that TU1 role. I'm excited for him. What about you?
I mean, Goddard I think he'll be fine. I think he was always the number one, even though with Ertz was there, I felt like.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
For me, I think he'll be more than fine. He's coming off of the COVID list. So this game, I'm a little bit nervous, but I think he should be fine if he gets the ball. But
Absolutely.
Yeah, what I found out last night when I was out with a buddy of mine, we were looking at our Yahoo Fantasy League, and he said that Jalen Hurts is the 4th best quarterback in fantasy.
I do have him on my teams.
I'm like, how? He runs.
Exactly. That's where the fantasy points come from. Just running all the time.
That's insane. Like, what? I'm still baffled. But yeah, I want to go to the defensive side because they have good wide receivers. The Raiders. They have
They do.
I can't pronounce the guy's name.
Renfro
and the other guy.
Ruggs and Edwards.
Yeah, it's Ruggs. Yep. They have a good wide receiving core, like they do. And I know our cornerbacks are good, but how do you see them going up against those wide receivers?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great question, Mitch. The guy who Sanjit T, just a great analyst. Like I literally learned so much from him about the Raiders. I think he mentioned this to me. I think the Raiders are the only team in the NFL to have 4 guys or 4 wideouts over 300 yards, all over 300 yards. Because Waller kind of counts as a wideout.
Wow. Yeah.
But I mean, look, it's going to be tough. Like I think our corners have played well this year, whatever they've been asked to do. I think, Slay's obviously played really great, especially in zone. I think that Steven Nelson has really bounced back. I mean, I think people don't talk about enough. He did not have a great 2020 season. He had a good 2018 and 2019 seasons. But he really has bounced back and played well this year, and he's looked like the Steven Nelson that we all were hoping to get. And Avonte Maddox has looked so much more comfortable in the slot. Like, my goodness, I have been so pleased with him. And I think that's what all Eagles fans were calling for after last year. Like, going into last season with him as the outside corner was a bad idea. He is 5'9". He is a slot corner or a free safety. He is not an outside corner. And I've been pleased to see him back up those claims and play very well this year. So I feel good about them, but at the same time, I mean, the cornerback is always at a disadvantage. This is what Sanjay always talks about, as he's a former cornerback himself. And yeah, I mean, it's tough. Look, Edwards is a guy who's going to come up with key catches here and there, and he's going to get some 50-50 balls, right? Renfro's going to burn Maddox a couple times, at least. He's a silky smooth route runner. I mean, he's just that crafty slot type of guy, like kind of like Edelman. I'm not saying he's Edelman, but you get it. That type of, Amendola, that type of guy, right? Renfro's really good though. And, you've also got Ruggs in there. Ruggs is a deep threat. And I think that's where our safeties come into play. Like, I don't feel great about our safeties right now. Epps is always the guy who's going to get all the blame, and rightfully so. Like, he's not a great safety, but I think he's had some okay plays this season. But I'm not trusting him to go out there and trust him to cover a deep zone against, Ruggs going out there. They're going to have to be ready, and the middle of the field could be open, but having two guys deep could help. I mean, Anthony Harris is questionable. He has not practiced much this week. Practiced in full on Thursday, but then today he went back to a did not practice. So, not having him back deep could hurt as well. And I don't know if he's played all that great. McLeod's been pretty good. I've been surprised considering that was his second major injury coming off of, but Kayvon's coming back soon. I don't think he'll play tomorrow, but look, I don't think I've been very pleased with our safety. So that's where I get a little concerned, is just them, giving up the big play to Ruggs when the cornerbacks are expecting safety help, and Waller down the seam as well. I think it'd be a problem getting behind those linebackers.
Yeah. And I actually had a Raiders content creator on here earlier. Shout out to Raider Nick from Thailand. He said that Waller is injured, and I'm like, wait, what?
Is he really?
He said he's questionable with a broken ankle or foot. So I'm like, that helps a lot. That helps a lot. And
that does help a lot.
Gang 31, how you guys doing?
Burger Gang?
How you, man? Yo, 1.5K, you passed me. Like, you passed me, man. Wow. But, get me on Bird Game Nation, man. I've been talking to Boys for Life like nonstop. I love that guy. But, what were we talking about? Waller.
Defense.
That's a big hit. Like,
that would be huge. That would be huge for us if he doesn't play.
Who's your backup tight end?
I believe it's Foster Moreau. Now, he is a phenomenal blocking tight end. I believe he played at LSU because I watch LSU here and there. I'm a fan of them. I watched them more like when I was a kid, but since the national championship run, I haven't watched them a ton just because they have simply not been good. And I'm a bandwagon, I'll admit it, but yeah, I believe Foster Moreau. And then after that, it's Nick Bowers, but they don't have too much depth there. So that would be a big hit. You might see them just go 4 wide receivers a little bit more, honestly.
Yeah. So I was talking to my friend Tyler, in the league or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was like, he says hi, by the way. He wanted me to tell you that. But,
tell him I said hi.
I will.
We had some fun back and forth trade requests earlier this year.
Really? And he got nothing. I mean, he picked up Cordell Patterson, and that saved his team.
Oh, did he pick him up? Dang, I think I put in a waiver.
He's third in the league. He's behind me and Jordy, and then he's right there.
Gotcha.
Like, you took a kicker in the first round. How are you third? But
I was pretty hyped. I did pick up Dearness Johnson this past week. So that was a good move for me.
Yeah, I picked up Jared Cook. He's on my week, but I needed a backup tight end. Like right now I have Ferkshire and George Kittle going to IR. So I'm like, I need a good backup tight end. Jared Cook. Boom.
You need someone in there.
Yeah. So I'm just like, that is a big hit. But I was talking to Tyler. He was like, this is a running game. Like, this game is going to be based off run. And their running backs are good. I like their running backs a lot. Like, you got Drake and Josh
Jacobs.
Jacobs. Yep, there you go. I like their running backs too. They're very well rounded. Like the offense, I'm scared for their running backs too. Honestly,
I agree. Look, Josh Jacobs is a guy who doesn't matter if you get to him, he's going to break tackles and he's going to make it tough on you. We'll see. I did read an article this past offseason that said he's kind of better on outside zone than in between tackles. So we'll see. We'll see how that kind of takes effect tomorrow. He definitely hasn't been as good as his rookie year. I think like his rookie year he was dominant, and since then he's kind of had a little bit of a tough time being consistent. But you can never count him out, and especially at the goal line, he's going to be tough to stop because they're going to find ways to get him in the end zone, right? And Drake, we'll see now that Gruden is not there anymore. We'll see maybe if he's a little more involved because I think people were complaining about that a little bit. Look, very good receiving back and runner. He's going to be able to get the job done no matter what he's asked to do. And I'm surprised Drake is in Las Vegas right now. Like, I think he is honestly the caliber of a starting back. I think he could start on some teams. He's still hopefully going to get some carries and some touches here and there. Definitely been used more in the receiving game in Las Vegas. It's what he's really good at too. So props to him. But those two guys are a good 1-2 punch if used correctly. So like I said, the offensive line, while depleted, has managed very well with the backups they've had. So props to them, and I think they're going to create some room for both those guys to work.
Yeah, and Derek Carr, he's second in the league in passing yards, and I'm like, what the? I'm like, can we rush a quarterback, please? Can we blitz or something? Like, can we do something?
Honestly, like that's the thing with Gannon I have trouble with sometimes. Like, I think Gannon, when he blitzes, it's very creative and very crafty, and he gets the quarterback. Like, I remember Cowboys game, we were down by 2 scores at one point, and he called the blitz, and they all came in, and then we got a big sack. Corner blitz, I believe it was cat corner, and I forget. I think it might have been last week. We called the crafty blitz on Brady, and we got a sack as well, or at least disrupted the pass. So I love to see him. You don't have to blitz, even 50% of the time, but like blitz a little bit, send some pressure at times, and I mean it comes back to last year. Like, what are the linebackers doing anyway? They're not doing anything, so you might as well just send them to the quarterback. But that's a whole nother topic for another time. But I agree with you. Like, they should send some pressure a little bit. I mean, and that's the thing I was talking about earlier was Carr has been really good, and he has been pushing the ball downfield. He's been giving Edwards some 50-50 shots and Waller and those guys, and he's been throwing in some tight windows. But if you get to him and you get in his head and he feels it a couple of times, he will go conservative. And if we have that cover too, where we have 5 guys underneath, we're going to be able to stop those short passes. So it's going to be a battle. And I think, like you said, we can get to the quarterback, even if it's the front 4. I'd like to see us rush a little more than 4 at times, but majority of the time, if we're rushing 4, like, those guys got to get to him. I don't think it's been good enough without Graham. That was a big hit. I mean, it's kind of been Hargrave and everyone else. I mean, I know Fletcher's getting double teamed a lot of the times, but he's still getting paid a lot. And I'd like to see him actually get to the quarterback more than he is. I think Barnett's been better in past weeks. I don't like the guy. I think he gets way too many penalties, and I think he's a bum. I don't think he's a 13th overall pick, but he's been a little bit better. I think Josh Sweat, I don't think I've seen enough of. I'm a big Josh Sweat guy. I'd like to see him get to the quarterback a little bit more. And, I mean, when you have – I hate to say it, but Taron Jackson, who's our 6th-round pick, he's been on the line too. Like, I like the guy, and I think he's got a cool story and a lot of heart. I think he could be a rotational piece down the road, but when I watch him on tape, he is just getting bullied every time. Like, I see him, he just gets pancaked to the ground a lot of the time, and I just don't think he's ready yet. And he's having to play a lot of time because Graham's out, and then it comes back to Ryan Kerrigan, who has 1 tackle this year, has recorded 1 whole stat. Like, and this guy, used to be. This is the guy who terrorized us on Sundays, and you think even in the back end of his career, you'd think he'd at least be like a Chris Long type guy. I think everyone thought he was going to play that Chris Long role coming here, and he has not. So he needs to just step up and do something too. I want to see it. I don't know what's going on with him, but they've got to – I agree. I mean, these guys, they've got to find ways to get there, and Gannon's got to help out with them too and find ways to get to the quarterback.
Yeah. I liked the signing in the beginning of the season or before preseason of Eric Wilson. I thought that was the perfect one. And then what has he done? Nothing. I mean, like, dude, It's so bad, so that's why I'm coming at you with this question. Our O line is depth. It's deep, right? Our O line is deep. So do you think we should trade one of our O line for a linebacker?
Yeah, that's a good question. Here's the thing. I don't think at this deadline, I don't think we're in position to be buyers right now. I
We're
just think
not.
that, yeah, I don't think that's where we are. Could we be down the road? Sure. And I think, Dillard, I think you definitely need to look into trade possibilities because, look, I think he's proven he can at least be a starting caliber left tackle. I'm not saying he's going to be an all pro. I'm not saying he's going to be a pro bowler. I'm not saying he can't be those things either, but I think he's at least proven that he can play at an effective level and you can grow him and develop him, right? He played well for a couple weeks there outside of the Bucs game, which is admittedly a really tough matchup against Shaq Barrett and those guys, right? That's definitely a guy you could try to ship off. Now, the other guys, I think we have a lot of young guys in there that I'd just rather keep around. I think Herbig should be playing a little bit more, especially with the offensive line injuries. I love Herbig. I think he's a good player, but I don't think there's any other guys that'll have serious trade value. But I think, Mitch, I think to me, here's what it comes down to. It comes down to actually investing a draft pick in a linebacker too, which Hire Roseman doesn't seem to like to do. I have no idea why. I mean, the only one he's invested was Davion Taylor, which in my opinion was around early for one. And two, he's a project. I mean, I like Davion. His snap count has been increasing, and I think it'll be good for him to learn this year. And because, obviously didn't play football for a little while because of his religious beliefs. So he needs to get up to speed and continue to practice and continue to get game reps so he can see what it looks like and, just react by instinct down the road rather than having to learn it on the spot, which is kind of what he's doing now. And he's a guy, hopefully 3 or 4 years down the road, we see the development. But I also wish, you would just invest an earlier pick or even a third-round pick in a guy who you can see where he's already got that there, where you don't have to, kind of say he's a project, and you kind of get to just develop him and continue to grow him from the skills he has. Like Pete Werner was a guy I was really high on in the draft. Nick Bolton, the guy who's doing really well with the Chiefs right now, was the guy I wanted us to take a strong look at. And we have 3 first-round picks this year. I don't think we're going to invest in a linebacker, but, second round, I think there's going to be a lot of good second-round linebackers this year, and I think absolutely we should invest in one. And I mean, if the trade comes along too, I think you definitely look into a deal for a young guy. If you can get a guy in there, I think Eric, I was definitely hoping he was going to be a good veteran leader, but I think the problem I had with him coming in was while he made a lot of tackles, a lot of them were downfield after he got bulldozed a little bit or was falling to the ground and got the tackle because he was the one who was making contact with the guy. I knew he wasn't going to be a really good run stopper, but I thought he would be better in pass coverage. I think he's been okay in pass coverage, but I think it's very telling that he's getting less and less snaps, and Davion's getting more and more snaps because they're prioritizing the young guys here. And I think Eric was more so there to just kind of like help them learn Gannon's scheme.
Yeah. All right. Last question, then we're going to go to the Sixers. Do you think we're tanking? Do you think we're tanking at all? Because I've been hearing that everywhere.
No, absolutely not. We're tanking. I think this is a team that they look to win every year. I think they know that the city expects that. I think there's also kind of a realization that this team is not a playoff caliber team right now. I mean, sure, they could be. The wild card is always weak. Look, I'll always say that. Last year, the Bears made it at 8-8, I think it was. Our division, look, I think the Cowboys, they could always have a November, December collapse like they always do, but they do look pretty strong this year. And I think they are going to take the division. I mean, I think that's, not really a question at this point. Again, they could collapse. I will laugh if they do. I will laugh so hard. But look, I mean, the last few teams in that wild card spot. So I think we've got the 5, 6, and 7 seeds of the wild cards. I think we got 3 wild card teams.
Yeah.
5 is the Rams at 5-1. I mean, the NFC West is going to have at least 2 or 3 teams in there. 6 is the Saints at 3-2. Saints have been up and down. 7 is the Vikings at 3-3. Vikings have been up and down. Those are teams that I think we're definitely on the caliber of. Maybe they're a little bit further in their development. Saints you could debate, but with Jameis Winston, I think it's really a roller coaster every week. Vikings, I mean, it's just a matter of how consistent they can be. They're always, like I said, it's always a roller coaster with them too. I think we could absolutely, by end of season, we could absolutely execute and go beat one of those teams. And, we are playing the Saints soon, but they could theoretically get a wild card spot. I personally don't think they are going to, but I think they could definitely be in contention for one, is my point. So I think that alone, and the schedule we played too, like we have played one of the toughest schedules in the first 6 weeks. That is just a fact. So I think looking at the schedule we played, you can confidently say like they have played, like even the Bucs game last week. Like, I know we were down 28-7, but we got a couple stops, we got a couple touchdowns, and it was a one-score game with 6 minutes left. Like we had a chance to win that game. It's a dumb taunting call, but anyway, and there was other stuff we could have done before that. But my point being, they are literally one game out of a wild card spot right now. Like that is not out of the picture, and the NFC wild card is not that good. So I don't think we're tanking at all. What do you think?
It's up in the air for me. It's like 50-50. It just depends. It depends, like, if we lose the next couple games. Like, if we lose this one, and somehow if we lose, we're playing against the Jets after, right?
I think we play – I think the Jets are a little bit later. I think I
got the schedule right here. Hold on.
Broncos, Saints are coming up in some
time. So we got the Raiders, Lions, Chargers, Broncos. If we lose to the Lions, I mean, they are competitive, the Lions, yes.
They are. Mm-hmm.
They're always so close. But if we lose to the Lions, I don't know.
Yeah. Are the Lions playing this week, do you know? Or are they on a bye?
They're on a bye.
I'm going to check that because – hold on, I have it up right here. Okay, they're playing the Rams, so that's probably not a win. I was going to say, I was hoping – because the Lions, I do think they're going to win a game at some point. Like I think they are building something there, a good culture. Unlike the Jags, I think, Dan Campbell is really doing a good job right now, considering the talent he has. But I am worried we're going to be the game they win. Like the Dolphins a couple years ago when they upset us in 2019. That was a terrible day. But I am worried. The Lions, I feel like we always play them close too. Like always. So.
We do. So let's just go into the Sixers after that heartbreaking loss. Dude.
Gosh.
So, whoops, that was not me.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm on the Spotlight Sports Network thing. So when you go off something, they put something at random. I'm like, every time. Dude, I love them and all, but we got to get this fixed. So, main reason why we lost. What is it?
Doc. I saw the title of your video. I knew that would appease you. But
yeah.
I mean, no, like the decision not to challenge, like you got to challenge that. Come on, I just didn't think the coaching down the stretch was good either. Like you got to find a way to get. If we get one bucket, we win that game. Like it's just, and the thing, Mitch, that. And I want you to kind of talk about this too, because I want to know I'm not going crazy. Like Ben was, we can agree. Like Ben was totally to blame for last year. Like everyone hates Ben. Yes. Ben's a bum, right? But people also gave me a lot of crap for giving any sort of blame to Doc Rivers. Like not like even 1%. Like, am I just going crazy, or was he the same coach who put in 4 or 5 bench guys at a time in the playoff games? His half-court stats seem pretty dry to me. I mean, he's also the one who did not take Ben Simmons out when those free throws were hurting us. And I know you need a minute there for his defense, but when he's going 0 of 2, 1 of 2 on the other side of the court, it doesn't matter at that point. It is hurting us, and you need to get him out of the game. And there were so many other things that I'm probably forgetting or could talk about that I think he did have some stuff that he was to blame. And it's also not the first time he's blown leads in playoff games. So tell me if I'm going crazy or not, but like that, and then also like last night, I mean, I know we're a young team and this is early in the season, but he does take a lot of blame in that game to me. So
Doc Rivers, he deserves a lot of the blame in the playoffs as well. I said 50-50. I said 50-50 for that. And actually who else did I put in there? Oh.
Toby?
No, because he came back in game 6.
Yeah, he did.
He came back in game 6. So I mainly put on Simmons and Doc. Doc is known for blowing leads, like I said in my video today. That can't happen. That can't happen at all. Like, you do not challenge the calls there. I mean, that could change the game like that.
Mm-hmm.
even though
Who's this assistant he's got behind him, telling him, giving a thumbs up or a thumbs down? What's this all about? You hear about that?
Is that Dan Burke?
I have no clue,
Or
honestly.
one of them. But anyway, I saw that too. So
Like, you're a head coach. You got to make that call at some point.
yeah. I mean, he's a Hall of Fame worthy coach. I hate to say that, but it's true. But it's just like, man. Now people, all Ben Simmons fans, I've been getting some DMs there, are like, see, we do need him. I'm like, wow.
Oh no. I will say, can I kind of bring that up though, Mitch? About that. I do think not for the team, but I do think at some point, like, he might need to play just so that we can get something in return, like, rather than nothing. Like, I hate to say that, but I was talking to Sanjay last night. I'm like, we're going to need him to play at some point. Like, it sounded like yesterday was a step in the right direction, but like, just to get, like, if he can play well enough to where we get like a Sexton or, I guess Brogdon might be off the table because he got that extension, but like a Levert or like, I don't know what we could get at this point. I don't, I'm not a trade connoisseur or anything. I'll let, everyone else with the rumors handle that. But like, he might need to play so we get something. But at the same time, like, he's such a cancer, and I feel like he just wants to come here and ruin everything. And like, hopefully he kind of buys in. It seems like the team really just wants him to, I think the team's being told like what to say right now. And like, Joel was probably given a little talking to before last night to say something like that to kind of get the fans back on his side. I think they just want to, and Morey went on 97.5 clearly with the intent to kind of say to Rich Paul, like, look, we're going to stand our ground. And I think they're going to realize at some point, the agency, like, he's going to have to play or else he's going to be out of basketball shape, and no one's going to want him at that point either. So it's a really bad, I think it's just I forget who said it, but it's a terrible chess match being played by both sides. And really bad. What do you think about that with the trade implications and just with him coming back so we can get something? Because I think last night, it is early, but I think last night kind of validates my concerns that we don't want to have a closer, but we also just need a little bit more to be a legit contender moving forward.
Yeah. So I agree with you that he should play a little bit. I don't know if he's mentally ready, which I think that's a lot now. I mean, come on. Yeah. I was watching running back Philly. He's like, and he's going through mental stuff himself, and he's like, dude, really? You have all these excuses. You're selling your houses and everything, and now you're just like, I want to go.
Yeah.
It's like his last resort. And as far as playing goes, if he plays, gets his value up, perfect. I mean, we were offered Brogdon and Karis LeVert. We were offered in a first. We were offered, and they offered for Simmons, like they wanted to give Simmons for like 3 firsts and 3 pick swaps. I'm like, why? It makes no sense. And he's not a superstar. He's not even an all-star in my opinion now.
No.
Like, it's so ridiculously bad. And what last night showed me, yes, the defense does help, but Tyrese Maxey, 1 for 5 from 3. I'm like, I'll take a point guard going 1 for 10 from 3 because he's shooting the ball.
Yeah, right.
Yo, what's up, Ryan? How you doing,
Ryan,
my guy?
good to see you as always.
Yeah. So, as I'm saying, like, he needs to play, yes, but when? That's the question.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, if you were him and this crowd, I think I sent you this TikTok, maybe not, I'll send it to you after. There was these guys pouring like beer on his jersey. And it's like, don't come back here again and go to like WNBA or whatever. And
WNBA, dang.
Yeah, and I was like, it's really coming down to this. I'm like, it's coming down to this.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous at this point. Like, I just don't know. We're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Literally, we can't move. We're stuck. And each time we lose, the Ben Simmons people are going to rise up. And I'm good friends with the Ben Simmons fan guy. I am. He changed his mind like that. Like, because he modeled his basketball game after Ben Simmons and everything. And he's like, what he did today about the getting kicked out of practice and suspended, that hurt him. And he was like, dude, I still respect the guy for on the court. For off the court, I'm like, no, I'm done. I'm like, thank you. And I posted on Twitter. There was a bench. I was at Dick's Sporting Goods when the news broke. And I'm always at Dick's Sporting Goods every time. That's what happened when Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, I was like this. But it's like, there's a Ben Simmons shirt for sale. I took a picture, put my middle finger in front of it. I'm like, why? There's still shirts being sold.
Yeah.
And I was working at the gym. I saw a couple of people with Ben Simmons shirts. I walked away. Like, what the hell? People don't get it, man. People just don't get it. But yeah, off that, I mean, the game overall, it was a good game for the Sixers overall throughout the first 3.5 quarters. I mean, we were in rhythm. Tobias Harris was doing his thing. Curry was making his shots. Korkmaz was doing stuff off the bench that I'm like, he needs to do that more of. And, I mean, Shake Milton, when he coming back, Tyrese Maxey on the starter, he was doing great. And Embiid, he didn't have the best of games, but he's coming off a knee injury. And he goes, dude, I shouldn't have played. He said that afterwards. I shouldn't have played. Yeah. Doc Rivers couldn't figure it out. A good game plan and play calling to make sure he's able to fix an adjustment, a lot of accountability and aggression. Yo, what's up, Robert? How you doing, man? He's live streaming who's playing right now, baseball? Dodgers and who?
Dodgers Braves.
Yeah, he's live streaming that right now.
Nice.
But I'm like, yo, what's up, Robert? But yeah, it was a good game overall. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. Like, I think it was a good game. Like you said, Joel was not at 100%. That was pretty clear coming into the game too. And he's gotten used to playing through injuries. I think that, look, Toby, like you said, had a really good game. He was efficient. I mean, he was efficient from the three too. Like, he had a great game. And was he on? I'll be honest. So I was actually filming. I do a drone for a high school team nearby, and then do other film stuff for him. Cool. So I was kind of like watching the Sixers game while I was doing that. Was Toby on KD most of the time? At least a few times I peeked over, he was on.
I think it was a couple. It was a few times, and Durant did get a triple double.
Yeah. So I mean, I thought he did a good job on defense too. I mean, yeah, like you said, like Maxey, I think has looked as good as you can expect for a guy who's in his second year. Like, kid's like 20 years old. I mean, I think he's younger than my friend, or maybe I am. And he's being and he's being asked to do a lot right now. So props to him. I think he played well. Steph, like you said, doing his thing as usual, perfect from three, efficient from the field. Korkmaz, we talked about it pre-stream, Mitch. I mean, look, he is a point guard on the Turkish national team, like, and he's looking pretty good running that role with Shake Milton out right now, and and Grant Riller, I believe, is out too. So I mean, he's doing well in that role. He's a good passer. He's got good vision of the court. I mean, he does his thing. And I think Drummond's played well, too, in his 2 games thus far. I've been very pleased with Andre Drummond. Now, I'm a little worried those flashy passes will cost us some possessions in the playoffs. But, hey, he's played well. And, like, Tease does his thing on defense. I will say, like, as far as negatives go, Niang didn't have his best game. I feel like you're just going to have to ride Niang. I mean, he's going to have his good games and his bad games here and there. It's just kind of the type of player he is. He's really just a 3-point shooter. Doesn't contribute much on defense. And then as far as, Danny Green, he has not started off too well. Been in foul trouble, not hitting shots. I mean, the man gets hot last night and then comes down the stretch and airballs twice. I mean, the second time I'm like, oh, he's going to make this one. And if he made that one, we'd probably win the game. Like, that cannot happen. For a guy who is a veteran of his caliber, you've got to make those shots. And it's just like always the Sixers. Always the Sixers is just how I feel after he misses both those shots. But that's kind of my thoughts on all the individual guys. What do you think going off of that? And also, just with Isaiah Joe, I know he's a little banged up right now with that chin laceration, but how do you kind of see him fitting into this picture, being a piece of the puzzle going forward? And just like, what do you think of the second unit so far?
The second unit I like. I mean, Korkmaz is doing his thing. I'm a big Korkmaz fan, as you know.
Yeah.
Andre Drummond, he's doing his thing. He's better than Dwight Howard. I was on a live stream with Key in the building and Robert, and they were asking me, "Do you think we should re-sign Andre Drummond?" And for me, I was like, "It's too early because I need to see him in crunch time with the free throws.
Exactly.
I need him for free throws, and we can all know he's a better free throw shooter than Dwight Howard, and he doesn't answer fights. But it's just like, dude, yeah. But for Isaiah Joe, I made a video about this last week. He's an X factor. He is an X factor if he gets the playing time and he knocks down his threes, because he was shooting like 49% from three in the preseason.
Yeah.
And he was shooting like 60 or not, I forget how much doing in the paint. But yeah, but once Shake Milton comes in, right? Isaiah Joe, is he going to get playing time or not? I mean, I think the bench is doing better without Shake Milton, because from what I remember, Shake Milton was going down. He was like going down throughout the playoffs and like towards the end of the season. And why are the people seeing him? I'm like, and I'm wrong for loving Korkmaz. I'm like, dude, I'm a part of the Spotlight Sports Network, and they're like, you disgust me, Mitch, because I drafted Korkmaz. I'm like, how?
Come on.
How? And they're like, in the first game, Korkmaz goes off. And I was messaging them, do you guys think he's bad now? He's like, Mitch, he's not consistent. Mitch, shut up. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? I hate this, man. It's Korkmaz.
Man. No, for real. And I'll be honest, like, Mitch, I agree with you. And I'm a Shake Milton guy. And I think I think a big thing, well, also, I'll admit, like, my friends actually chipped in and got me a jersey for him his first year he popped off with us. So that's a big reason why I'm a big Shake guy. And I actually got the jersey like days after he hit that game winner in the bubble, which is really cool. Yeah. But it's like a cream colored one. That is one of my favorite jerseys, just because of like how special it is that my friends got it for me too. So shout out guys at Philly Insider, appreciate y'all. But look, I mean, I think speaking from a Shake Milton fan perspective, I've also been very critical of Shake too, because I want to see the best from him. And I think speaking kind of from those fans' perspectives, like, I think they're still holding on to, like, you know, when he put up 30 or 40 against the Clippers that year, and was just hitting three after three. But they forget that he kind of, like you said last year, Mitch, like, he was not trending up towards the end of the year. I mean, this is a guy we were talking about as a possible six-man of the year halfway through the season.
He was my pick last year.
Yeah, exactly. And then the confidence kind of tailed. And I think with Shake, it's just, again, he's another one of those roller coaster guys. And like, I was at that game too, where the man just literally caught fire and just popped off and kind of saved Doc's butt, because Doc kept putting in the bench guys and blowing leads because he put in those bench guys. But look, I mean, like I told you before the stream too, I think it's a little bit of a blessing in disguise to have Korkmaz at the point guard role. He's playing really well, and I think that's where he's best fit to run too. Who knows? Are we going to see Korkmaz in the starting lineup as the point guard soon? Maybe.
I would honestly love it. I would, but it's just like, I can tell he was like, Mitch, you're probably the only Korkmaz fan. I'm like, no, I can tweet out right now. And people are like, yeah, I can tweet out right now.
There are Korkmaz stands out there. Sanjay's favorite player since summer league that Korkmaz popped off has been Korkmaz. And it's like, I might be wrong. I don't want to say this, but it's either one of two Sixers jerseys Sanjay owns. Like, he does not invest in jerseys too often, but Korkmaz is his guy. So like, you are not the only one. And look, like, Korkmaz has really come a long way. Like we said before the stream, like, he is on a very team-friendly deal. And you can't get guys like him. And even if Korkmaz doesn't contribute in the playoffs, just having a guy in the regular season who can get you to the playoffs, give your starters some rest, and be productive off the bench is massive. And that's kind of what Korkmaz has been the past couple of years. And last year, used in the playoffs a little bit more. Hasn't played too well in the playoffs yet. We haven't seen that from him too often. But I think this could be the year. He's been with the team for a while. He's experienced it. Obviously, I think maybe the market's not there for him, but I also don't think he would keep coming back here if he didn't love it here. And I think he really does have a special tie to Philly. But I think Korkmaz has come a long way. Also, his defense has gotten much better since his rookie years. I mean, maybe it's not elite or even above average, but it's at least to the point where you're not exactly trying to hide him or stash him away on defense and hoping they're not going to attack him, right? Like, there were points where teams just went after Korkmaz on defense, but he's a respectable enough defender now, I think.
Yeah, and look, I hate to make this comparison, but J.J. Redick, I mean, he was bad on defense. They attacked him.
Yeah.
Same with Seth Curry.
Exactly. Kevin
And
Herbert.
apparently, as I saw on Twitter right now, Anthony Harris is out for tomorrow.
God bless our safeties.
Yep. Anthony Harris is out. Dang it.
Oh, that's tough. That's tough.
Ah.
We might call Elijah Riley up from the practice squad though, and I will say I'm a big fan of him. Or we'll use Andre Shasharoy, who's really I think just a special teams guy. I don't know if he's a safety, but that's not a good situation.
Who knows? I mean, our next Sixers game, I think it's the Thunder tomorrow night. Is it? No, wait. What's tomorrow? The
24th is tomorrow.
24th? Yeah, we got the Thunder.
Oh, it is tomorrow. Yeah. During the Eagles game. Wow.
It's after the Six. It's after.
Oh, it's after. Okay. Good.
Yeah, it's after. I mean, I'm going to have to do a recap during the Sixers game. And then I'm like, oh,
yeah,
good.
right.
Yeah. So, I mean, we should win that. The only thing I see bad is Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. That's the only person.
What'd you say?
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
Oh, I'm a big SGA guy. Big SGA guy. Yeah.
So am I.
What if we got him? What if we got him for Simmons, Mitch?
Oh my God.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Dude, my personal trainer came to the house. We were going for a walk. Actually, we usually do it around the block. And he's like, Mitch, who did the Sixers draft before Ben Simmons? I'm like, where do you want me to begin? Jason Tatum, Lonzo Ball, De'Aaron Fox. And he goes, just trade him already. Like, just get rid of this guy. Like, it's getting really bad at this point. Like, really bad.
Who did we take over Devin Booker? Who was that year?
Do you remember what year he was drafted?
I want to say 2014, but I feel like I'm wrong. Let me look it up.
Just look up Devin Booker's draft year.
Yep. He was drafted 2015, and before him, that was the Okafor year. Okay. Tough.
Yeah, Okafor was the best player available in that ranking.
Yeah, I can't blame them. I mean, it's tough because you can look back on draft decisions like that, but I mean, I think we all wanted Okafor when we got there. So.
Vlogs, thank you for coming in. Devin Booker was drafted in 2015, pick 13.
Yeah.
There you go. So I'm in this fantasy basketball league, like I was telling you. Some guy picked Devin Booker in the first round. And honestly, I thought that was a reach because I haven't done fantasy basketball in like 5 years. I'm like, that's not a reach, is it?
No. I honestly, I haven't played fantasy basketball yet this year. I might have to get a league started, but off the top of my head, I mean, he's a beast. Did have a little bit of rough finals, but I mean, in fantasy basketball, you're just going for regular season. So Ben Simmons is probably a great pick in regular season fantasy basketball. Not this year, but
there's this guy who did auto pick, and it gave him Kyrie and Ben Simmons.
Oh, well, hey, at least the guy who doesn't care about it gets stuck with them rather than someone.
Yeah, and with my first pick, I took Giannis.
That's good. That's good. I remember you texting me about that.
Yeah, I was at work texting a bunch of people walking around. I'm like, who did I say? Jokic was ranked 1. And I'm like,
really? Interesting. I told you to take Korkmaz, but
yeah, I did. I got him.
You did. Not first overall, but you got him.
Yeah,
I was surprised he fell past the first round, but
I think every round I got him, but I got him before Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how?
Yeah.
And crazy. I got Drummond 2 out of that.
Is yours just the all Sixers team?
No, those are only 3 Sixers I got.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Only 3.
Is it a big league?
Yeah, Robert's in the league, and I was like, dude, I'll give you Maxey for Embiid right now. I was this close to getting Embiid. We were in this group video chat, and they were like, Robert, no. I'm like,
is Robert a big Maxey guy?
I guess so. But I was like, I could have had Giannis and Embiid.
That's hilarious, though.
Dude, Robert's a guy, once you know, like, the things, you can go, like.
Yeah, right. Robert's a great guy.
He is. But, we're closing in on stream an hour and 6 minutes. I just want to say thank you for coming on, man. It was a blast, and we got to do this again.
Yeah, Mitch, thank you for coming on. I really do appreciate you having me. It's just great getting to talk sports with people on here, man. Like, that's just what I enjoy most, and that's what I've just been appreciating lately is, like, doesn't matter the viewers, doesn't matter the subs or anything. Like just getting to have a genuine sports conversation and just talk with someone else is something I, longed for a lot of the time. Like at my school, there were sports fans, but not people who I could have like in-depth conversations with, like yourself and Burr Gang and all these people. So it's a blessing, and keep me to my word too, because I know the last year when we collabed a couple times on your channel, but it took me a while to get you on my channel. So keep me to my word. Let's get you on the channel within like the next month or so, or at least next couple weeks on my channel. Let's do some Eagles and Sixers talk. So
I gotta do it with the rest of your guys. I haven't met them yet.
You did, yeah. You have not met the Philly Insider guys. So you gotta meet Sanjay too. Sanjay's on there the most. So
yeah,
I appreciate you, Mitch. Yeah, Sanjay's the guy.
But dude, I was having fun talking to a guy from Thailand about
Raider Nick, right?
Like,
that's so
how
cool.
can you do that when you're not on YouTube? Like,
yeah.
Like I said it before and I'll say it again. I don't care about the sub count. I don't care about the views.
Absolutely.
I don't make money not to brag. I mean, I'm good. I got a job and everything. I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like people buy. You know what? I'll tell you off the stream. But yeah, you know where I was going. But all right, guys. I'll talk to you all later. All right, hold on. Where's this freaking? There it is. See you guys.